Hello, hello, hello. I feel like RuPaul when he's like, hello, hello, hello. If you're watching the UK's Drag Race, fire, gonna say Ginger. I've been supporting Ginger from the start. As soon as Bansky was out, Ginger. Don't talk to me about Bansky. I was so sad about that. Still might cry. Anyway, we move, we love, we move. Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Everything Red podcast with your Period Prince host, Temesis. And today, we're going to just have a chat. We're just going to have a chat. So this cycle just been, I decided I was going to log my period down. And it started because I fell into the internet research about regulating cycles. And a big thing that came up was seed cycling. Seed cycling. So I wanted to give it a go. So I thought, I'm going to start monitoring my periods and my whole menstrual cycle. But with that came so many questions. And I thought, you know what? I don't think I'm quite ready to share what my opinion is on seed cycling. I'm going to give it a good 3 months and then I'll share with you. If anyone's like, what is that? We can talk about that in basic form. It's you take, oh, Kitty! Hello, Bridget! Everyone meet Bridget. Bridget! Oh, she's off. She's already off. This is my cat. I'm currently back at my folks' house and they have 3 cats and they're bloomin' gorgeous. Bridget, come say hello. Come say hello on the mic. Should try and get say hello on the mic. Go on. Bridget. She's sniffing the mic, guys. Hey, gorgeous. Anyway, sidetrack. There's a cat with us. What am I talking about? Oh, yeah. Seed cycling. So essentially what you do is you take a tablespoon of flax seeds and pumpkin seeds. Oh, no, she's walking on the computer. Bridget. No. Come on. A tablespoon of a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds and flax seeds on the first half of your cycle, your follicular phase, and then you take a tablespoon a tablespoon of sesame seeds and sunflower seeds for the luteal phase and second half of your cycle. I would love to actually speak about it in more detail, so we'll do an episode on that. But that is basically what I've been doing. And with that, I've made a period log. So we're just going to talk about it and anything else that's come up in my brain, because over these last few months while I've been doing this podcast, I have been delving into periods in a new level of intensity than I ever have before. And there is so much to learn. There is so much withheld, hidden knowledge out there that is actually available, but we don't know what to search. We don't know where to start, so we're never finding it out. And there aren't enough people who know to be able to just pass down that information to the generations below. This is what I want to change. Oh, she's purring. Go on. Okay, we've got the cat fix. Okay, Bridget's going to come join us. I'm currently just rubbing her belly. Very comforting. I'm currently on my period. I'm on day 4. Whoop, whoop, whoopity, whoop, whoop, whoop. If you've been following the Everything Red Instagram, you know this because I've been just showing the period of chaos with my big old hot water bottle. And I won't lie, this one has been a stinker of a period. It's been so painful. It's been one of the worst I've had for a while. And I'll talk about a little bit why I think that is from what this month has been. So, day 1. If you can hear a purring cat, I want to say I'm sorry, but I'm not, because I think everyone needs a purring cat in their life. So day 1, just any noises, that's probably Bridget. She's currently clawing the keyboard. Yeah, you're clawing the keyboard, aren't you, Queen? That's what she got to say for that. So, my first day, I was very, very tired. This is my notes I've written. Wanting to sit down, cool to lay baby, and slay from there. Was emptying cupboards at work, went to event and felt, that's not a word, claustrophobic. Needed to undo belt and let me bloated belly be free. Needed to be comfortable, cool to be inwards, still and hugged. Didn't want to kiss my partner. Sense of smell overdrive. Grounded, less talkative. Body sensations more intense. Neck kisses were crazy. Oh, okay, girl. Okay, she got there. She wrote that down. So overall, day one, I really remember feeling really sensitive, but not in terms of emotion. I actually found that I was quite calm, but I just felt really physically sensitive. So I was lugging that around. I've got a new job, woo, and currently we are in a sorting everything out phase. So there's a lot of moving of heavy equipment around, just like cupboards, or not even that heavy, just a lot of laborious tasks of walking from one end to another end and doing it repetitively. And I just remember feeling so tired. Like any point I could, I was getting out of chair to sit down. I remember putting my headphones in, listening to music, because I was like, I just need to zone into this task, and everything else around me needs to be zoned out. I just want to be inwards. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to complete this to the best of my ability. And then the person I'm dating at the moment, I remember I went to see them and I just wanted to be hugged. I just wanted to be hugged. Like, that's it. I don't want to do anything else. I just wanted to be hugged and be in that space and that energy. Sense smell overdrive. That's interesting. I can't remember why, but I do remember. I think I was just smelling everything, and I was so sensitive to all the smells. And you'll find out from this log, but I had a really long period this month, and I believe now in reflection, it's because I was working so intensely hard during my period that it was so long. I was lugging laborious tasks, like I said, which I don't usually do. That was just it really intense. And I would say I'm quite a physical person, but I'm not usually lifting consistently for days on end, especially on my period. And that week there was like consecutive days of lifting. So I think also that made me even more want to go inwards, because I was already exerting all my physical energy. And yeah, you'll see, but my period was so long. Usually my period is no longer than 5 days, 6 days, maybe max. But I think this one was like 9 days. It was quite long. Anyway, moving on to day two. Day two says, did not sleep, but felt fairly fine all day. Took it slow, wanted to sit, but had lots of heavy load work. Comfortable with spider, even though usually petrified. Okay, let's work from the top from there. So did not sleep, but felt fairly fine. In general, this cycle, I didn't sleep very well. Multiple reasons for that. I was very busy, and I didn't really give myself time last month. And usually I'm quite an advocate about giving yourself time. And I didn't really, I'm going to be honest. I was very busy, going to bed late, doing things, also just not sleeping. I remember I was not sleeping very well. And I think it's because I wasn't winding down for the evening, all that. So sleep wasn't that great. And still had a lot of heavy tasks to do the next day. Obviously not complaining. I love my job, but I remember it physically during this month taking its toll, just purely because I was so tired. Like, my body's tired, my hormones are low. The time physically for me to do this stuff didn't correlate and align, and that's just sod's law. That's the world. I'm a working less in the world who has a period, and I'm gonna have to work during my period. But it's good to know this, because it's meant that during this time, even if I've been tired, I haven't been rushing it. I really was taking it slow. I had to do these tasks, but I made it the best I could for what my ability was. I didn't push myself, just took it slow. Well, I did push myself, but I tried when it came to the tasks to be calm and collected and do it at my own pace. Anyway, waffle queen. Comfortable with spiders usually when I'm petrified. So I'm really scared of spiders, to be honest. Like, it's a really weird relationship I have with them. But during my period, I always find I'm really peaceful with them. They don't scare me as much. They don't evoke as much fear. I don't get these intrusive thoughts about them. And I just kind of see them for the creatures they are in the world. So, yeah, that was on day two. I really noticed that. It usually happens every month. It's very weird. And I think it comes to that calmness. There's this groundedness I feel on my period, where even though I want to be maybe more inwards and not so social, I still feel that I am comfortable in my mind and what I'm saying and how I'm articulating, how I'm conversating. Which isn't always the reality in other phases. Very, very, very strange. Day 3, baby. So lack of wanting to learn, more energized physically, but feeling introverted. Intuition said not to call and contact people, even though I had to do it in brackets. Dread, calm though. Should have cancelled, but people pleasing came in. Okay, girl. She a people pleaser. Well, she's an ex people pleaser. I've worked very hard on this because this was very negatively affecting my life, even though you think it's going to be the opposite reaction when you're people pleasing, but actually no, it was negatively affecting me at least. But yeah, I think again, because this period I didn't chill, I lost all ability to make rational decisions, which I usually can make, because I didn't have that time of rest. I just went plow through. And I know I said I took my time, but if I'm looking back and reflecting realistically, I didn't really. Like I did when I was lifting stuff because I knew I was on my period, but I still did it, and I still then carried on afterwards. I didn't rest. I didn't have a time where I lay down. I then called people. I then did this task. I'm not ever recommending when you're on your period that means you can't do anything. I'm a big believer you can do whatever you want to do, whatever you put your mind to. But it's just to be mindful that when we are menstruating, our body is going for a lot of work. So if you have a call to lie down and rest, follow that intuition. I didn't really follow my intuition so much on this one, as we can see. So yeah, I remember I had like 2 calls that evening and I didn't want to cancel, and they were really, really beautiful in the end. Like I spoke to some really good friends, but I remember being really exhausted, and actually I probably could have utilized that space to go inwards for myself and postpone those calls. But yeah, my people pleasing came in, and yeah, more energized. So day 3 was starting to feel a little bit better, but still not feeling like we want to be out in the world. Day 4, feeling very tired. Had a busy period, so shouldn't have had a busy period, so haven't had the chance to rest, and feeling it today. Okay, here we go. So this is why it's important, if you are called to rest, which I was and I ignored, to rest. It doesn't mean all day. Sometimes when we think rest day, we think, yeah, I'm just gonna lie in bed all day. That's, for me, not a realistic rest day any time in my cycle, because I'm such a doer. I need stimulation and things to do. But it could be you set a 5-minute timer, you sit for 5 minutes and you don't move and you just breathe. It could be for 5 minutes you go for a little walk and you just clear your head, 10 minutes, whatever. If you live by the sea, just go smell the sea, come back. It could be that you take a slightly longer lunch break and you designate some time in that lunch break just to journal or talk to yourself, think through some thoughts, or just sit. There's so many different ways that people rest. Do a bit of yoga. Maybe you like to go for a run. It's different for everyone. And here we are, day 4. I hadn't really taken any of those intuitive feelings, which for me would be probably to sit and journal or do some stretching. I love a good stretch. If you've known me for years, you know I love a good stretch. I didn't really do that, and I was feeling it. I do remember being really tired and just it's all hitting me. I didn't write anything for day 5. I think because I was so tired, I just forgot and was in the motions of what I was doing. Day 6, tired, haven't tested. Sorry. That literally makes no sense. I've written haven't tested in period and it, okay, I think I meant to say rested. Haven't rested in period and it had dragged out longer than normal. There we go. So I know my period's not finishing. I'm on day 6 and it's still kind of heavy. Not normal for me. Day 7, trying my hardest to avoid work. Mental retention, not great. Now really remember this poignantly. I was trying to do tasks. I say, okay, I do that. And I just forget. I'd have to keep coming back to my desk and being like, oh, what? I'm just forgetting, and then doing a new task and then forgetting about the task I just started. Proper distraction, neurodivergent brain mode coming in. But actually, I think it was coming from this exhaustion. My body didn't have the energy and my mind didn't have the fuel and energy to suffice in remembering what I was doing. So I ended up having to write down a list. And even though I'd written things down, as soon as I'd come away from the list, it was gone. So We do the small things to keep us going. Day 8. Sense of enlightenment. Sharp focus on for reading. Could easily fly out external notes, which at my work I hear. Okay. You know when you're dyslexic and you try and read something cold read for the first time, but you haven't edited it? This is what's going on, darling. So let's just recalibrate what I've written. Here or it could easily fly out external noise, which at work I hear a lot. That means I could easily block out, I think I have meant to written, blowfly, external noise. So I have such a beautiful job. I work around music and theatre and drama all the time. But because of where I work, there is a lot of noise all the time. And some days it can be, if you're trying to do like really focused tasks, if it's consistently going, the music is consistently playing in the reception, I'm like, oh my gosh, you can really feel it. However, I could really block out this day. So I had this like sense of enlightenment. And it's really common if you get into periods, they say you come towards the end, and you, especially if you are familiar with Laura Owen's work, she always talks about how you come to the end and there's this sense of renewal after your period. If you've utilized it, you have this sense of sadness, this sense of grieving, this sense of letting go. And then at the end of that, you start to come to this sense of enlightenment where everything you've exercised and explored in your period and let manifest, you start to put it into fruition and ready for your spring, ready for your next phase of your cycle to make those tasks a reality. And I remember sitting and I journaled. I didn't have my book, but I just journaled on some post-it notes, some thoughts I was having. And all of them were like a sense of, right, this is how I'd like to move forward this month. These are things I want to let go. These are things I want to do. I also said, felt a whole realm of emotions that needed to come out, easier to process how I am feeling moving forward with relationships. Okay, cool. So there we go, kind of what I was saying. I think because my period was so dragged out, it kind of all came in one this day. So this is day 8, which again, my period never usually lasts this long. It used to when I was younger and I didn't have a regular cycle and I wasn't doing the things I needed for my period. It would be so long and heavy. But nowadays it's pretty regular and it's still heavy, but it's situated in a shorter time frame than it used to be. And not heavy like it used to be where it was like horrendously heavy. It's heavy to a degree where it's like the first and second day are quite heavy and most of it comes out then. Yeah, I remember being really emotional, wanted to cry, feeling like I'd had some good realizations. Easier to process, that's interesting. I think that comes with that sense of enlightenment. And yeah, I remember just having like quite a big conversation with myself about current relationships in my life, and if I'm showing up, if they're showing up, what I need, what I want going forward, who I need to let go of, all that kind of stuff. So cool. Let's see if we put it into practice though. So day 9 and 10 I've written, not sleeping a lot, but still thriving okay, mentally busy on tasks, multitasking. Yeah, as I said, I didn't sleep very well this cycle. And I think it's because I've, in general, been just like, last month's been so busy, done a lot of staying around friends' houses, staying around my partner's house, just lots of busyness. But still okay, thriving okay. Mentally busy on task. Yeah, very busy. I came out of this period so busy, no reflection, into more busy, into the time where I'm meant to be go, and feeling quite busy, overloaded, low. Day 11, huge boost of energy, felt like I wanted to run, was late to work and needed to move fast, and run was prominent. Feel super productive, want to keep busy at work, mental retention much sharper, feeling more confident to take space. Tight, bracing feeling below. Okay, yeah. So, I remember literally I looked at time, I was like, I'm going to be late to work if I don't run. And I had this feeling where I was like, I want to run. So I ran and I wasn't late. I ran to work and I felt amazing. Like it was this boost of excitement, this boost of renewal, this boost of like, the period is ending. Well, it has ended now. I'm coming into my spring and I'm ready to take on. Mental retention was so much better. Again, I think it came with this boost of hormones in my body and feeling more confident in the space. Tight bracing feeling, that refers to my pelvic floor. I think because my period was so tense, I was then bracing, and I found like I'm currently doing this yoga workshop with this lady called Daisy, who's amazing. I will put her Instagram tags on my Instagram, so you can follow her. She's doing a menstruation mentorship, and it's been so interesting. And we had a session, I think that's coming up pretty soon, and I could feel how tense every muscle in my body was. And we spoke about how, because my period had been so busy, I hadn't had time to release any of the tension in my body. I really, really think it rang true, because that was the first time during that yoga session I remember I had laid down and stayed still, bar going to bed. But because I'd been so busy up to bed, I'd just been doing tasks, sleeping, doing tasks, sleeping, and not sleeping very well. So this tight bracing feeling on my pelvic floor was coming from that tension and stress I was holding in my hips. Day 12. Muscles more relaxed, feeling more easy. A blue to... I'm so dyslexic. A blue. What is that? I think it's meant to say able. Able to improvise in work. I don't know what that says. A mess shorum. I think I've written a note that I meant to remember. We'll ignore that bit. Able to improvise in work. Yes. I remember just work feeling so much easier. And I was like, any tasks that were coming, I was able to think of ideas like, yep, okay, I think this would be the best way going forward. A lot more easier. And when things go wrong, just be ready for it. Day 13. Discharge was thick AF. I've written. Looked like I have ovulated. Felt so stressed. Wanted to do stuff and felt disappointed I had not. Felt high levels of stress from being around toxic energy. Crazy family. Oh, yes. Yes. So during this cycle, I have moved back home for a little bit where I'm looking for a new flat. And yeah, I came to some pretty crazy energy in the house. And I remember I just felt so stressed. And it was interesting because I really noticed, obviously because I was maybe paying more attention because of this seed cycling thing, my discharge was so thick. Now, sorry, some of you might be like, ick, but it's normal, darlings. We all get discharge. If you've got a womb and you've got a vulva and you have a vagina canal, there's going to be discharge happening. And it's normal. We want that. Self-cleaning, very important. But I remember it being so thick, and it was like that egg whitey stuff that I was like, okay, this is usually what I get to say I've ovulated. Am I ovulating now? Have I ovulated early? Do I usually ovulate this early? Questions started going through my head. I know I do ovulate. I have a longer luteal phase and I ovulate fairly earlier in my cycle. But yeah, this just felt really quick. And I think because my period was so long, it felt like, whoa, suddenly, only a few days after, we're already on ovulation. That'll be something I think I'll assess this cycle, because I'm going to keep this log again, just to see if it's just because of that period being so stressful, or it's actually a common occurrence. Felt so stressed. Yeah. Disappointment, that's an interesting one. Wanted to do stuff and felt disappointed I had not. Yeah, I remember I didn't complete as many tasks. I wasn't as proactive as I wanted to be. And maybe because I'd had such a proactive feeling of wanting to be productive, only like a couple of days before, then to not have completed those tasks that I mentally had set out to do, it felt like I had wasted my time. Day 14, restless, want to move, anxiety. But Karma now spoke about my feelings. Oh, I can't remember who I spoke to, but I probably spoke to one of my dear friends. And no, actually, this is the yoga day. Yeah. Is this the yoga day? I'm looking down. No, we'll see. I think it's the yoga day, because I think I hadn't spoken to anyone. I'd just been like going through the motions, and I finally spoke to Daisy about it and felt this sense of relief. That day I'd been so stressed and holding all this hypertension in my body. Like I said, I can't even put into words. I just remember my body felt like every muscle was separated from the skin. So my skin's around my muscles and the muscles inside were just like solid rock. And it was covered by this layer of me being a human and all the outside that no one could see how tense I was feeling. And I think that was like a layoff from experiencing moving back, toxic family members around, again, a heavy long period. It all was building up. Day 15, egg white AF discharge. Wow! In capital letters. A blob. I've written a blob. Full energy today. Feel like I could run a marathon. Was low. Being in generally stressed. Wow. Writing. Being in general feeling stressed from previous situations and events. Yes. So, again, I've spoken about how it was stressed, tired, blah, 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 blah. But feeling better, which we like to hear. And the discharge was egg white AF discharge. Wow. A blob. Day 16, felt super energized, slept well, completed lots of tasks, but felt a little restless and distracted at times. Went for a run and could push myself beyond initial mental limit. Positive feeling today, felt renewed. Body was tense and stiff though. After math of stress ? And I've literally written ? And also wrote a question mark. Aftermath of stress. Oh, aftermath. I've written it as 2 separate words. Aftermath of stress ? I think I'm asking myself, well, we've kind of already identified from all the other days that yes, the question mark can be removed. It is the aftermath, baby girl. Day 17, wanting to have sex / horny. Fancies, I don't know what that means. I think fantasies I meant to say. Wanting to be social, have fun, go out the house and walk. Feel so much better. Mood lifted. These are in capital letters. Made mad because currently grieving a bit and had a stressful few days, but literally cloud 9. Able to be direct and control emotions in tough conversations. You know what? I've not gone back and spell checked all these. These are exactly how I've wrote them. So bear with me while I unpick them. But I remember feeling that I was thinking of some sad things. It was quite a sad month. My family were remembering a bereavement. So yeah, God, now I'm thinking about it. That month was so stressful. There was so much going on, and also like leading up stress that I was thinking about. So I think this day, although I was feeling so much better, like my mood was lifted and I physically was better, I had been grieving, and I actually think maybe that was playing into how I was feeling before, and maybe this is the first time I'd realised it on day 17. But today we're feeling better. We're feeling like more in control of our emotions, and we're able to channel them through tough combos. Yes, I remember having some conversations with my dad and actually being really proud of myself that I confidently was like, no, this is how I feel, Dad. This is my boundary. And I'm really proud that my dad was like, okay, yes, I listen and I hear you, which is growth. If you know my family, that's growth. Day 18, more tired but consistent feeling. Oh, I've just wrote kiss by accident. Anxiety levels so high, felt very tingly. I don't know what this is. Felt very tingling, septic. What's that then, Tem? And not comfortable in conversation. Okay. Could articulate well, met lady on train, legend. So whoever you are, lady on train. Oh, yes. I remember my phone. I accidentally disabled my phone for an hour because it was raining that day. And then because my pocket was damp, my phone was like leaning on my leg and it was like kept writing in the postcode. And then, yeah, it locked itself for an hour. And my train ticket was on my phone. And this lady was a legend and let me call my dad to come pick me up from the station. Lol, legend. Thanks, lady on the train. Actual babe. Day 20. Pretty full, kept busy, but madly distracted. Couldn't do more than an hour of focus. Yeah, I remember being just so distracted. Like, so distracted. I didn't want to stay inside. I had this real feeling of wanting to be out and socializing. Day 21, distracted, moving from one task to the next without completing anything. Weirdly don't feel like I'm in my ovulation though, question mark. Reflecting on encounters and feeling bad about them, question mark. Discharge more dry and bitty. Yeah, so again, I had a really confusing cycle. Like, was like, on my app, it's saying I should be in my ovulation, but I felt like I was in my autumn already. I felt like I was reflecting on things and being quite hard on myself and hating past decisions, which is quite common when you're in your autumn, this like reflection before you go in the winter, to be like, get rid of those thoughts that you've had during the month so that during your period you can actually focus. That's what I put it to anyway. But yeah, was feeling that now. Very interesting. Day 23 and 24, spots appearing around my mouth and chin. Notice skin looked flushed and symmetrical, but spots, question mark, is that ovulation or is it changing into autumn? Again, weird period. We're going to have to reflect next period and see what we think. Day 25, felt the shift, really energized in the morning, feeling horny, changed, now not feeling horny, more insecure. Oh, we changing. Her emotions be flipping from 1 to 0 in 2.2 flat. Well, I think it spoke for itself, that one. So I was feeling good in the morning and then I was feeling terrible in the evening. 27. Over F word, I've written. Over effing whelmed. Easily irritated. Has a busy day so far, but couldn't focus on what was being said and stuff annoyed me for no reason. Yes, I remember I was looking for flats and I was just done and I was tired and I felt just overwhelmed from everything. I was really reflecting on things and being like, just done. 28, laser sharp focus, great at completing task, new surge of energy, like hyper. I think what I meant by then is like hyper focus. I remember being like so productive. Not really physically, but just mentally, I could take on the world because my brain was like, yep, and could complete it in a really efficient time because I could stay present to what I was doing and not be like, I wonder what that bird's doing. 29, hair grease, ick. Feeling productive though. So yeah, noticed a shift in my hair. I think I'd literally washed my hair over the day before that, but my hair was feeling kind of matty, greasy. So a hormonal change was definitely taking place. Day 30, hungry of ready to eat all. Oh, sorry, hungry AF, that says. Ready to eat all. Brown arrived, super vivid dreams. Yeah, I remember I had this dream of throwing burning water over the people I love, specifically the person I've been seeing at the time. I'd like thrown boiling water over them. And I remember waking up like, like drama. Let the drama student out. She wants to be on the stage. No, but proper just the stress of that dream. And I was so hungry. But yeah, the browns arrived. If we all know what that is, that's that first little marking in the pants to say that the period is here. Day 1, I just wrote, she here. Now, I have written a little bit about day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 now, me being on day 4 today, sort of my new cycle. But I just want to close that previous cycle, which in total was 30 days, before we go into a new section. And in reflection of the cycle we've just been speaking about, I think we've gone into enough detail, so I'll keep this bit short. But in reflection, this was quite an unusual period for me. And that is because I have knowledge of the period to usually, per cycle, do what I feel I need to do. But I didn't do that this month. I completely ignored my natural menstrual cycle and therefore had probably one of the most stressful months I've had in a really long time. My period this month was horrendous. The one I'm just in right now. It's okay now because we're on day 4. But day 1, day 2, day 3, my gosh, especially day 2, oh my G's. She was horrendous. She was a vengeance. She was angry. And I think it's because I had so much pent up stress. And if we're looking at a period in a spiritual way of this releasing every month of what we've been so we can renew, there was a lot to be released. To be fair, now sitting here, that month was really stressful. And it's so interesting that I didn't have control over all of that stuff that happened, but it affected my menstrual cycle. What I did have control over to a degree was the pace I took things at. I had to work, I had to. There's no other way to get around that. But I didn't listen to my body afterwards to give itself the rest it needed. And that therefore showed in my cycle. And it's led to this week's cycle being one of the worst periods I've had in ages. I don't usually have consistent cramps, but on my first day I had them consistently all day, which is just an ick when you've got to work all day. And my work colleagues were looking at me like I was crazy because I was just wearing this hot water bottle around. I'm so lucky. My job, they're so blooming beautiful. They look after me a lot and they let me be my crazy self obsessed with periods. And so they were all looking at me like, oh, you okay? But yeah, I had this crazy long hot water bottle. And I'm so glad I had it because I don't think I would have been able to go on with the day. I ended up having to go home because I felt really sick. So sick. And I don't usually have... And I generally was like, am I sick? Like, I feel like I'm going to vomit. I'm worried if I've caught something. But as soon as I went home and rested, I then was fine. I felt renewed. And it showed that I think that I just was so... That's the carry on from last month being so immensely busy, emotionally as well as physically. I then just had this horrendous period this month. So interesting. And something I want to talk about is, so on that horrendous day, I was in a lot of pain, but I felt this calmness, I felt this stillness, I felt this understanding, and I felt able to do the day because I was actually this month being like, I'm going to have my hot water bottle. I'm going to make sure I'm okay. I'm going to make sure I'm looking after myself. And I'm still at work. I still got to work. I've got to do it. We need to pay the bills. But I am going to take it at my pace. And I didn't really want to do anything. I wanted to stay at home. And my friend calls me and she goes, the Reclaim the Night March is on in Brighton. Do you want to go? And at first I was like, no, I don't want to go. I'm on my period. And then I was like, had this surge of feeling, this intuition came in that was like, you need to go. You need to be there for your friend and you need to be there for yourself. You need to be in that energy, and you're on your period, even more time to be in that energy and share that space. So I was like, okay, part of me wanted to ignore it because I wanted to go home early and rest and not be getting home really late. But I didn't, and I went. And it was so incredible. We were chanting, my favourite probably be, hey, mister, get your hands off my sister. One of my favourites. We were chanting all these chants and it felt like really important. It felt really purposeful. And it felt powerful. I felt strong. I felt this like sense of community. I got to speak on the megaphone and I just shouted out some chants and some thoughts and it felt amazing. And really what I took away from this experience is they had some speakers and it was people speaking from backgrounds that I rarely consider. And that's, I hate to admit it, my ego doesn't like that, but I don't consider potentially the traveling community and their experience when they get their period. I don't experience what it's like to be a sex worker and on the street and their experience and how they have to keep themselves safe on a different level. It really made me think. And I've also been reading this book. It's called What We're Told Not to Talk About, in brackets, but we're going to anyway. And then there's a subheading, Women's Voices from East London to Ethiopia by Nimko Ali. Oh, it's been such a fantastic read, a painful read as well. And just the perspective it's given me on how the first period is treated in other cultures. I am completely blown away by this book. It made me uncomfortable. It's made me cry. It's made me laugh. It's made me so grateful to have a period, but it's also made me feel so much empathy for those who are not in a safe space when they do get their period, or whose periods are not seen with the love that they deserve to be seen and the power that they deserve to be seen. but also so inspired by some of the women and their stories, and how some of them have faced FGM, which stands for female genital mutilation, and they are embracing their life even though they have experienced this abomination and absolute disrespect to their body, and how that's affected their experience with living, having sex, having babies, having their periods. Fantastic read. I couldn't recommend it enough. One of the chapters that really got me, and linking it back to periods, was the chapter on periods, where many of the stories, and these are shared as passageways from interviews of real people speaking about their experiences. Many of these women had got their period, and that now meant they must get married. And they went on to talk about how they were now married because the period was an identifier, a marker for that. Bearing in mind that most people get their first period when they're 12, that's the average age. So these aren't women, actually, they're girls, young people. And it made me again look at the period in a different way. And I just kind of sat and realised that this is such an important topic. Yes, it's easy for me growing up in England as a white, privileged person. I mean, I've never come from a rich background. We've had to work hard my whole life, but I've had shelter. I've had safety. I've not been completely treated like a second-class citizen because I'm female. In my household, I've been uplifted and loved. And my period never marked anything other than the next stage, not to be married. And I really, these two experiences, reading this book and this march, and the consideration of just what other people are going through when they go through something that's completely natural, completely normal, that we all share if we've got a womb, I really, really, it humbled me and made me sit there and go, wow, I am so lucky that I am not being forced to do anything because of something that naturally occurs in my body. And I have so much empathy and love for the people who are facing things like war. I mean, we all are seeing what's happening in Gaza and in Ukraine, and all these wars that have been, all this famine like in Yemen. So many disasters caused by us humans. We have caused these. So much neglection of self. And we don't even consider how gender biases would then affect those situations. I'm not going to get into it too much because I don't want to bring this to a completely low, sad level, but you have the power. Everyone has the power. But if you are in your home safe and you're not in a situation where your life is being threatened every single day, and I don't know the nuances of everyone's situation, so this is very generally I'm saying this, please look inwards and know your power, because there are people out there who are just trying to survive day by day and are faced with further turmoil. I sit here and I go, I love my period, but I see that that's not possible for everyone. On the Reclaim the March, I didn't bring enough period stuff, and I like to use reusable period pads or pants, and I only had one. And I mean, this is going to gross a few people out, but I was like, I'm going to wear it. I don't care. And I mean, it was really uncomfortable. And that was just one day. There are people out there who spend day in, day out wearing the same pad, getting rashes, feeling that uncomfortability leaking through their stuff because they don't have the money or the resources to be able to properly look after themselves. And on top of that, they have to continue working. They have to continue looking after their family, their children, excuse me. I am so lucky that I got to go home from work early. I am so lucky that I got to go to this march and claim this power with these women and these people and of non-gender conforming backgrounds. Anyone who was passionate, there were men there. There were so many different types of people. And I get to go home then to a warm bed afterwards. My life is not just at constant risk of danger. If you have this privilege, you must use your power to help others. You must. And of course, you need to help yourself. Like, it's very important to do the work, go inwards and look after yourself. Hence why the period, I'm really here now trying to promote that is the time. Naturally, our body is giving us that time. It is the time. Yeah, I don't want to waffle too much. That's just how I've been feeling. Lucky. Why is something that should be a priority a privilege?